All right, so I'm gonna show you the goal of like basically what we're going to be creating today and why it's cool. Okay, at least why I think it's really cool. So I'm gonna actually just start sharing my screen with you so that you can see kind of what we're going to build towards. All right, cool. So you're gonna be seeing my screen here. All right. So this is the kind of analytics headquarters that I am talking about here. You're gonna see here that on the left-hand side of the page, you have these different pages in a Google site. And for us here at Easel, these represent the different analytics properties that we have that we track. So for example, if you go to the free YouTube channel, we're tracking the overall amount of traffic that's coming to the YouTube channel, which is represented by sessions, which is a metric tracked by Google Analytics, the top traffic sources, the top countries. So obviously this can help you in terms of your marketing strategy, your content strategy, and then also we're tracking goals. So subscribers is our main goal. And the way that you can use these dashboards is to keep a pulse, obviously, on what's happening to you and your business. And also, if you want to, you can use these dashboards to do things like give employees or team members goals that they know they have to reach in order to get bonuses or meet certain metrics, or even just to motivate them to be on track, right? So you can use the dashboards in any way that you want to. And what we're going to go through in this relatively advanced tutorial is how to set up, how to pull the data from Google Analytics, put it into a sheet that automatically updates, because those dashboards that you saw update automatically, and then how to create a chart and publish those charts to a site that you can then share with whomever you'd like to. You could keep it private, you can share it with investors, you could share it with certain employees, board members, whatever. So what we're gonna do together is go through the core skills that you need to have in order to make this work for you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the data, set up a custom chart that automatically updates and publish it to a site as an example. And once you know how to do that, the rest is really up to you, because you need to determine what your KPIs are and then how you're going to use the data you pull from Google Analytics in a way that's relevant for you. So you've seen, I'll start screen sharing here again. And you've seen how many of these charts that we keep for our analytics headquarters. And so each one of these charts is published within a spreadsheet. So I'll give you a little bit of a look under the hood of what that looks like. So for us, like, this is our analytics folder here in Google Drive, and then each one of these sheets correlates to a specific Google Analytics property. So each one of these sheets has multiple charts in it that are relevant to our business. So, you're going to have to create a chart. Each chart you want to publish to the headquarters, to your dashboard, is going to have to be published in a sheet. So let's get started with looking at how this stuff works. All right. So, and also final thing you might note if you want to do it, if you go to the events page here, so not the actual Hangout, but the events page, I've posted down here this link, bit.ly/Easel dashboard. That will give you the step-by-step that we're going to be using as we create this example of a published, automatically updating analytics chart, which then goes to a dashboard. Okay, so now that we've created this Google spreadsheet, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you go up to add-ons and that you have added on this Google Analytics add-on. And so for you, you're going to have to go to Get Add-ons if you haven't already installed this, and get the Google Analytics add-on. All right. So now what we're going to do is go to this Add-ons, Google Analytics, and then do Create New Report. And so this is going to basically tell Google Analytics what data you would like to pull from your analytics setup. So for us, I have 3 different Google Analytics accounts, and then under those accounts, I have multiple different properties. So for this example, we're gonna do the free YouTube channel, and then I keep a custom view, which is the easel view, because that's how I was trained, was to create a custom view for an analytics property that you can then, sort of use as, you can modify as you want, and then to leave the raw view, which would be this all website data view. Don't touch that. All right, so then you need to select a metric, and then so we're just gonna start keeping it simple. We're gonna select sessions, which, if you're new to analytics at all, this is basically the amount of times that the website or whatever web property has been activated by a user. And then you need to define the dimension. The most common dimension is going to be date. So that's basically saying, give me the sessions by a given date or date range. All right. And then there are options here, but this is what you're going to be using. I'm sure that all of you will be using the date dimension. All right, so then you see that it starts us off here with this, basically this core spreadsheet. And this configuration is basically the home base of your bridge between your Google Analytics data and your Google Sheet. All right, so one of the fundamental things you're gonna have to do is set the start date, and this is critical. So this formula, which you can find in that bit.ly quick start guide that I referenced there, is kind of complicated, but essentially what it's gonna do is it's gonna give you the most recent Sunday using the Google Analytics formulas. And it's critical that you use this formula because this is what makes your dashboard automated. If you use a fixed date, then basically your sheet is not going, it's not gonna update, right? So your charts are gonna be static rather than dynamic. All right, cool. So now you'll see here that it gave us, the most recent Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then you're going to do the end date in this column, which is going to be today. And then at this point, it's important that you go to this last end days here and delete this 7, because that's basically giving you a fixed date range. You do not want that. You want to have a dynamic date range, which you're setting up here anyway. All right, cool. And then at this point, I would also title this report. So we'll call this sessions this week. All right. And cool. So now we've got basically a report that will pull the sessions between the 27th and the 29th. And I'll show you how this works. So if you go up here to Google Analytics and you do run reports, it'll pull successful, okay. And then you'll see that it created this sessions this week tab in your sheet, which is sweet. Okay, so let's go back here to this report configuration. And you're gonna notice here that there are a couple of things that you can mess with manually if you are experienced enough to do so, but also it'll just help you, it'll kind of help you understand what's happening here. So for example, this view profile or the IDs, this GA : whatever, this is your Google Analytics property. So if you wanted to, manually, for example, take this column and then just copy it and then paste it over here, you're basically telling this configuration setup, hey, pull it from the same property. And what we're gonna do ultimately here is create this column as a sessions last week column, which will ultimately give us the data that we need to create a chart like this, so that we can kind of compare traffic this week versus last week, which can be useful, like if you're running a promotion and you want to see how effective was that promotion, etc. All right, cool. So let's go over here to our test. All right. So what we need to do to change is we need to make this date range changing. Again, we want it to be automated. We want it to automatically give us the date range so that these dashboards are always current. So what you're going to do is make this a reference to this other cell. You're basically saying last Sunday minus 7 days. And then you'll see there it pulls up the date, December 20th. And then you want this to be the Saturday before this day. So you just go equals this cell. Oops. We want this one to be equals this cell minus 1. Cool. So then you can basically see that now we're getting these two, our correct date ranges. All right. And then I just want to show you one more type of report that I think is totally critical, which is goals. Anybody who's in any of Easel's growth hacking courses or Google Analytics courses will know that goals are super important. So what you do is you go to Google Analytics, create new report. And then let's name this report goal complete. Like, well, actually, the goal in our YouTube channel is subscribers. So I'm going to do subscribers this week. So then I'm going to make sure I'm on Easel, free YouTube channel, Easel view, and then goal. So this is what you want, this goal XX completions. And then dimension, again, we're going to do date. And I'll show you here that, like, just for, you know, for your knowledge, you can do things like month. And so this is good for some of these other charts that you might have seen in the dashboard, which is, there we go, which is like you can do, you know, for example, traffic over the last 6 months, traffic over the last 6 weeks, which might be valuable for you. Okay, cool. Anyway, so for now, we've got the right setup here. We're going to create the report. Okay, so you're going to see what happened here is we got this last in days. I'm going to delete that again. You have this goal XX completions. All right, so you're going to want to delete these X's and make this just goal 1. And I'll show you how that works. So if you go to your analytics, to your Google Analytics backend, you're going to notice that, so we're working on the free YouTube channel. If you go to the Easel view, and then you look at your admin goals, so this is the goal we've set up. So you might have multiple goals. And I'll show you what I mean by multiple goals. So for example, if you look here, not on the free YouTube channel, but on our Udemy courses, which is where we have our video-based courses, we have student enrollments, which is our goal number 1. And it's going to take a little while to populate these charts. But you'll see that we also have active students. Active students. So we have, as a secondary goal, students that have actually logged into the courses, right? Pretty sweet. 889 students logged in this particular week. Anyway, so you can do just multiple goals, but you're going to need to set that to like goal 2, you know, goal 1, whatever is the goal that's associated with what you're trying to achieve. Okay, so then in this case, I would just make this a reference over here, and then this one a reference over here. And I'd copy this, then paste it over here, and I do subscribers last week. And then similarly over here and over here. Okay, cool. So now when you run the reports again, it's going to create these new sheets. Cool. And then down at the bottom here, you're going to see that there's these different sheets, right? Okay, so now that we've got the data coming in correctly, And just for what it's worth, if you're going to create these dashboards, some of you are going to need to pull in, like 7 or 8 reports, and that's cool. It can do it. Although I have seen if you pull in like a ton of reports from one property, sometimes you'll get an error message into your email that's like, you've tried to run too many reports. I think it's like you can pull like 10 reports in a day or something. Anyway, but you can get a lot of data, right? So then now that you've done this, it's all about creating a chart. So you don't want to create the chart in this tab because this tab is going to be dynamically updated. And I think your chart will stay in here if you created it here, but I've had problems with it. So what you should do is go to a new sheet. See, I think there's an empty sheet somewhere. Okay. So I would call this like summary. Okay. So within the summary, you just need to build the table of the data that you want to create. So I'm going to do sessions this week, first, last. And that's the beginning of creating, a chart like, pretty much like this, but instead of enrollments, it'll be sessions. It'll be exactly like this one. Okay. So I'd have this column be day, this week. Okay, cool. So Google Analytics or Google Sheets is pretty smart. If you just put sun and you hold this little box here on the bottom right-hand corner, you can just drag it down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I would actually personally leave the abbreviation because these are ultimately going to be your labels for your chart. So if you put like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's just more letters in your chart. It might make it a bit more cluttered. Anyway, so now you can just reference, so just put equals, and then just go over here to subscribers, or we're gonna do sessions. So sessions this week, all right, cool. And then go here, and make sure that you highlight 7, because on the 30th, you're gonna get data in here, and on the 31st, right? So you don't just highlight the 3, you highlight, 5, or 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Oops. You want to go here and actually pull this over here. All right, cool. And then just start here. Okay, cool. Now you drag it down for the 7. All right, because you'll see this is referencing B16, B17, 18, so on. Okay, now let's do the same thing for last week. Oh, we're on subscribers. We want to go to sessions. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so now you've got your data, which is sweet. So now we're just going to go and just highlight this square. Don't highlight the title of the chart. Just highlight this stuff. Then you're going to go to chart, which is right here, insert chart. Oops. And in this case, you want to go to this, I think this is a good one, the stacked area chart. And then uncheck this switch rows and columns. All right. And then go over to customization. And I would set the chart title correctly. All right. And then if you want to, you can play around with fonts. I think I made most of mine in, actually I think I left them in Arial. Anyway, if that's important to you, you can mess around with the fonts a little bit. But what you're probably gonna wanna do is go down here to series, and then I would select this last week and just make it something like this. Just so that you can kind of see the difference more easily. I mean, I don't know, I think red is a little bit confusing to the eye. And then you just insert the chart. Here you go. Okay, cool. And you see there's our day. Here are the days. All right, so we're set. All right, so again, I'll just show you the sort of back end of a fully fleshed out one. So you see in this one, like, there's quite a few charts. I think this one is called like a donut chart. And then this one is one of those curvy line ones, which I think is cooler. Anyway, you can just customize whatever charts you want, but you're gonna have to create multiple. And I guess this is a good time to point out that you could totally create custom metrics. So if your KPIs are not easily calculated by Google Analytics, you can totally create them yourself. I'll show you what I mean. So like, for example, let's just go into a new space and like, let's say that we wanted to say, goal conversion rate or subscriber, right? And then you could do day, and then you could do something like, actually I'm gonna do this, conversion rate. And then you could do sessions, and then goal completions. And try to make this quick in case people are like, duh, Davis. But I'm just gonna show you, sometimes KPIs are more custom than what Google gives you. And for anybody wondering, what's the KPI? Key performance indicator, which should be tied to the core strategy of your business or organization, whatever you do. Anyway, so this is gonna be the custom metric here. And then for your sessions, you just go, maybe this is subscriber conversion rate this week. So then you're gonna just reference the sessions that you can do here. And then go ahead and pull them down. And then here's your goal completion. So you're gonna reference this. Subscribers, here we go. And then your conversion rate is just gonna be a simple sum formula. It's like 0%. And don't worry about these errors. They'll fix once they, they'll fix once they get data in there. But this is like 1/4%. You could even go in here and change this whole column, 2%. Anyway, so you can kind of see, you can totally create your own metrics using Google Analytics data if you want to. Okay, so now let's get back to our example chart. All right, the next critical step is to publish this chart to a Google site. So what you do is you go up here to this little upper right-hand corner, publish chart, and you're gonna wanna embed it, and then just click publish. Yep, we wanna do it. Okay, let's just leave this pop-up box up for now. All right, and don't forget, if you guys have any questions, you're welcome to pose them here in the event or in the Q&A feature. And I'll get to them after we finish this example. Okay, so now what you want to do is you need to go to Google Sites. I'm just going to take this off. There we go. Okay, so I was practicing this yesterday, but so you just create a site, and then let's name your site. Let's see. Something like that. I'm not a robot. Trust me, Google. All right, cool. So we create our site here. I'm still not a robot, Google. I promise. Maybe I am, and I just don't know. Oh, the URL I've chosen is not allowed. All right, let's see. Let's see. That's good. Okay. All right, that worked. Yeah, I just want to have this blank template. That's all you need. Okay. So now if you were to look at our dashboard from Easel, we have multiple properties we're pulling from. So each of these is a page in this site. And I think at homepage, I think we have put something up there. Yeah, put a little image. But you could make the dashboard as the homepage, or if you want to have different pages, you can have an individual page have the dashboards. So in this case, let's just do it on the home page because just keep it simple. So you're gonna go to edit page. Maybe let's call this. Okay. So now what you want to do is go up here to this little HTML button. And then now leave this pop-up open. Then go over here to our little test. Watch that little switch. Okay. And you're just going to copy this embed code. So I'm just pushing Open Apple C here on the Mac. And then you're just going to put it in here. Click Update. And then Save. Sweet. So there is one of your dashboard components, right? So anybody who's watching this who's smarter and more active than I have been yet, you could totally create a chart that, for example, has a goal with like a bar chart, and then has the number of completions of the goal to show, for example, a team member like, hey, look how far you are towards this goal. You can make these charts however, you can get creative with it, right? All right, so now the next thing you're gonna wanna do is you're going to wanna go up here to share. And now you can control the sharing of this site. So let's say this is off and only specific people can access it. And then you can, add people, right? So the way you might use this, for example, is like in Google Analytics, you can tie revenue to the completion of goals. And then you can have, for example, like weekly or monthly or yearly revenue estimations that your investors or whoever you need to see it could see. And the final thing that we want to do is go back here to our little example, which is cool, we're good. Now when you want to go up here to add-ons, Google Analytics, and then put schedule reports. Yeah, enable reports run automatically. Perfect. That's going to give you your automatically updating dynamic charts. So that's how, I can be confident that every time I come to our analytics headquarters, the data is fresh, right?